Hey guys.
Hello.
Okay, your connection says it's. By the way, we're figuring out the video camera stuff. I think we'll be okay. We'll see how that works out, but we'll at least have mine.
Okay.
And mine says that same thing too. So we're just figuring out, you guys, how the camera is looking and everything. So we will give this a minute and see who hops on and follows us. You see that?
Okay.
There's people that are.
70s.
Okay?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I said chime in.
Okay. The reason why I want to is because it's very important so that we know who we're talking to. Rich, my good friend here, good dear friend here, just released this book, Sacred Quantum Metaphysics. You guys can find this online at Amazon. Okay, and just a little bit about Rich. Rich and I met each other through a spiritual church, Science of the Mind church here locally in Denver, at a meditation group. And over a couple years back, he had been talking about how he was going to be writing this book, and so now it is released. It's been out for almost two and a half months.
Mm-hmm.
And how many copies have you sold?
After less than 2 months, there were over 1,100 copies sold, and that's exciting to me because 1,100 families can create a better life.
Yeah.
And who knows who they send it to? And I haven't had updated figures, but
Yeah, that's great. So that's for those of you that don't know, that's a high amount of books to be sold in 2.5 months. So that's a very good amount. And anyway, so you can find it on Amazon. I'm going to let you talk a little bit about your background
okay.
and where you're at right now.
And I think it's probably important just to give people an overview of the book. I combined 24 ancient metaphysical principles with 12 recent scientific discoveries, including Einstein, string theory, quantum mechanics, and don't get intimidated by that. The book, everybody who reads it says it's very readable, easy to understand. It's in everyday language, set to explain even the most basic ideas to anybody. So people are really enjoying it, but that gives you the background of why science is now confirming a lot of those ancient metaphysical principles, such as consciousness existing after death, things like that. It's been touted as being perfect for beginners, intermediate, or advanced metaphysicians. So there's something in there for everybody. And my background is that I started out with a psychology degree and found the whole idea of hypnosis being very intriguing. If you go to another lecture, you'll hear the whole story, but I realized that there was a lot of value in this technique that people have found, and what I understood is that we aren't really teaching it in our university. So I took off. My spiritual growth came out of a lot of the research from Dr. Moody and his near-death experience book, Life Between Life. No, Life After Life, sorry. And then I also got involved in past life recall for people. I studied with Dr. Newton, who wrote Journey of Souls, and learned his techniques to take people into what we generally call the afterlife, where people are making decisions on what they'd like to accomplish and what they'd like to what their purpose in life was, what challenges they take on. One that was really hard for me is there's an idea that we choose our family, and if you understood my family, you'd say nobody would choose that one, for sure. But when I got to the other side, I found out I did, and there were good reasons for it, but very insightful things.
Yeah, so just a little bit, because I know your background, but these guys don't.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit, just like if it was a live event and they were sitting in front of you and you were meeting them for the first time and somebody wanted to autograph your book, because I've heard you say this before. What happened to you when you were younger? A little bit about that and your family history.
Well, you know, when I went to the other side to experience what they call the life between life, or what generically we call the afterlife, and learned my lessons that I was coming in at, I was intent on disproving this absurd idea that I chose my family, because my dad was alcoholic, my mom was crazy, 3 out of 4 of my half-siblings that came to live in my apartments in Lakewood were hoarders, alcoholics, illness, and I just couldn't believe there'd be a logical reason why somebody would choose that family. And much to my chagrin, I did understand that I did choose it, and there were good lessons in there. We don't have time today to go into a lot of them, but believe me, they're very powerful growth for me as a soul, as a consciousness that's going to survive this body, and I'm very grateful for those lessons, and I'm also grateful that I got to experience them before I passed on, because when we pass on, we get all knowledge about ourselves, and so this was a gift to get it early. And for the last about 4 decades, I've been helping people with their spiritual journeys through past life, or what we call emotional healing, or going to the life between life arena. And unfortunately, with the new book coming out, I'm not able to take new clients, but perhaps you could contact Sophia here and have her give you some of those insights. Certainly all those experiences are included in the book, Sacred Quantum Metaphysics, and also on the website www.sacredquantummetaphysics.com is a huge amount of information, including an entirely free Awaken the Enlightened Master Inside You meditation. By entirely free, I mean you just click on it. You don't have to give me your email address or anything. It's my gift to humanity, and it's only 17 minutes long, but it helps you to find your own answers, so you don't need to come and pay $450 to me to get those insights. You can get them yourself.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. And I did do your meditation, just to attest that I did the meditation, and it was fabulous, and I was completely so relaxed that I don't even remember what happened when I came back into the room. Do you mind me asking you something very personal
Sure.
that you might want to share? So maybe you can share a little bit about the carbon monoxide, and then we'll go into what happened when you did actually go and visit the other side. So maybe we can talk on the carbon monoxide first.
Absolutely. When I was just a little boy, I almost died as we had a furnace that was faulty, and for weeks we had terrible headaches, and it just got worse and worse, and finally we were carted out of the house with in an ambulance, and what happened to everybody that was in that house was we had some kind of nerve damage. Everybody that until they died, I'm the last one to survive that. Everybody died eventually, I should say, not from the carbon monoxide, but every one of us ended up shaking for the rest of our lives. There's some kind of nerve damage, and so if you see me and you have me autograph a book and you can't read the writing, then I'll be glad to decipher it for you. But yeah, that's one of the things I get to struggle with in this lifetime.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, because I know it's very personal stuff. And you know what? First of all, let me just tell you guys, we are in Rich's house right now, and it's just an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to be sitting here and working with you and collaborating on some projects with you. That because we are looking to do some events together and workshops together, and more of these Facebook live videos if you guys like them. And we're going to cover most of the chapters, if not all, that are in his book. So I'm really excited, because for those of you that are new on your path and just starting to ask those esoteric questions like, why am I here? You know, what is all this around me? Who am I? And start wanting to align with that knowledge, and starting to awaken to some things. This is a great manual. It's also a great manual for those that are intermediate, expert, have been on this path for quite a long time. Really gives you some great insight. So I really suggest getting the book on Amazon. But let's talk about what we're here for, really, which is the discussion of near-death experience. And maybe you can, you know, shine a little light on your experience, what happened to you, and what you saw when you went to the other side.
Sure. And I don't know if everybody's familiar with what a near-death experience is, but basically it's when somebody is very close to death, they get out of body, they have certain consistent experiences. Usually they see their body from above. Sometimes loved ones that have passed over will come and comfort the person. If it lasts long enough, they go through a tunnel, usually go to what we generally call heaven or the afterlife. There's certain beings, guides that are there to help them. Often there's a being of light that helps them with their questions, and some of us actually get what's called a life review, where you've heard when you're drowning, your whole life flashes in front of your eyes. I think that was a pop way of explaining that life review. Everything that ever happened to you as a soul is reviewed, and not only that, you actually experience what the other person was feeling when you're doing this, good and bad. People look at that and go, oh, I don't want to know that, but there's good things that we do that also have wonderful consequences. Anyhow, I was very lucky to not have to almost die to do that. I went through what's called a life between life regression. I read the books that were out on the research, and actually found my own way to help my clients. But in 2001, I was lucky to be one of the first hypnotherapists to study with Dr. Michael Newton, who wrote Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls, where he accumulated that research and opened up this whole avenue for scientific and emotional investigation. And so when I was on the other side, I was able to remember the decisions I made before I came into this body and brain, why I picked the family, what challenges I wanted to do, what I wanted to accomplish in life. And there's also other areas that we can talk about. Soul groups, guides, those kind of things are all in the book Journey of Souls, if you're interested in the overall concept. Very amazing process. I came back with no fear of death. People that have had near-death experience often do not fear death, and I got that same knowledge. What a gift that is, just to say, okay, when my time comes, I'm ready. I'm not going to hurry it. That's against the rules, but for the idea that we're going to expire and just go into a hole in the ground is just not true. Our consciousness existed before our bodies come into these, before our bodies were created, and it'll exist after this body has died, and that's very comforting. And we're on a journey to learn and evolve, and that journey is a very loving journey, very supportive. The afterlife contains very little evidence that there's anything very negative that we hear in our Western culture. It's all understanding that we're human, we make mistakes, and we need to learn from those mistakes. And so that's another piece that's comforting.
Oh, that's great. So you got this out of your own experience and going in between. Yeah.
And I calculated I probably helped in the thousands of clients get that same kind of information. What I realized is that there's a lot of need for people to have that kind of knowledge, and there's no way me as one person can help everybody. So I put all those insights into the book and added quite a few other things. I mentioned that there's a lot of metaphysical principles, and one of those is the idea that our consciousness exists after death, and it has been proven. People that are skeptical, there's a wonderful study by Ian Stevenson from University of Virginia. He took a look at 5,000 children that remembered a past life and analyzed their experiences and what they said happened to them, and then went back and looked at other census and other records to verify. He started out thinking he could disprove past lives by doing that, and what he found is that they're very well documented. Somebody might say they lived in a certain city and had a certain profession and married a certain person and had kids of this name, and they died in this manner, and they go back and look at the research or the records and find out there was a person that with that name, married that person, had those kids, died that way, had that profession. And now they're scientists, they can't say past lives are real, but they do say that past lives are the most logical explanation for how these kids had knowledge, intimate knowledge about another person's lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and obviously today it's all over the news constantly. We hear constantly stories of children that have other lifetime recall memories, soul memories of who they were, or they even remember like addresses or blocks, cities where they lived, down to the block and almost down to the house of where they were and before they were born, and told their parents even at ages 3 or 4 who they were, and the parents would fly with this child out to these areas and find out, in fact, yes, that there was that person that lived there, and that was that person. And oh, sorry, Vicki, this is called Sacred Quantum Metaphysics. Sacred Quantum Metaphysics. You can find the book online at Amazon. You can also go to sacredquantummetaphysics.com to get more information on the book and on Rich as well.
There's an easy click on the website where you can just click on, go to Amazon, and it's right there. So, quickly though, a lot of people in our Western culture have a real hard time with reincarnation, and it's kind of considered an Eastern philosophy, but it isn't important for people to understand how to use the sacred quantum metaphysics, the science and the metaphysics together to make a better life. So I put it in an appendix that Christianity in the early days, it was a major tenet of that, and that reincarnation existed. In fact, there's parts in the New Testament that verify this philosophy. It was taken out not by theologians, but by a Roman Emperor Justinian. And if you look at who that was, he was one of the people that make Hitler look like a choir boy. He was quite a terrible emperor. And anyhow, that was taken out of Christianity by an edict of an emperor, not theologians. So it's interesting. If anybody's interested in it, it's in the back in an appendix. But it's not essential to understand it. It might make people a little bit more comfortable with these ideas.
Yeah, and we, in both of us, I think that we have something in common, which is that we have the ability to see our clients' other lifetimes, and see other people's lifetimes and what's pinnacle, why is it serving, what's going on in this lifetime that is an obstacle, a challenge, an interference, a block in their life, and we are able to see that through our own gifts, through source energy, and being able to tap into what you call the Akashic records, which is going to be saved for another for another live episode. But so we're able to see some of these things, which I think are very fascinating in our work. And I know you said, you're not taking any new clients. I am assisting Rich in fielding anybody that requires some assistance, spiritual guidance, looking at some of those other lifetimes, and why it's pinnacle to look at how it's serving you in this lifetime, and if it is an obstacle or block for you. You know what? We have some questions here. Should I go ahead and look and see?
Sure.
What
And somebody said they're having trouble hearing, and
Okay.
I'll try and just speak up. I know we're unable to actually access the volume in the back of the phone right now, but
Okay.
I'll try and speak up. Sorry
Okay,
about
so
that.
from Susan on your page, it says, can't wait to get the book compared to others. Videos rich, too quiet. Oh, can you adjust the volume?
Okay.
And is it double blind? I can see.
All right.
Okay,
And
my brother.
something that I know is the person who was asking that question was wanting to read the book, but finances are a problem for a lot of people, and I'm just so excited. Jefferson County Library has picked up some of the books. They said they ordered them, so I know there's more than one going in there, and there's a prospector system on Jefferson County Library where it can send the book anywhere in the nation, and I'm just so excited that people can get it, because one of the main chapters in there is called Abundance and the Law of Attraction, and what I actually walked through is an example how we can create wealth out of nothing. So there's no reason for people not to have all the wealth and abundance in their lives based on metaphysical principles. A lot of it is our thinking that gets in the way.
Right, and I'm just going to go through some of the chapters, just so you guys know the book is not all about just near-death experience. I'll just go through some of spiritual versus religion, enjoying life, distracting bliss, your precious gift about forgiveness, what are the Akashic records, what the inner power that we have within ourselves, us as already the enlightened master. Gosh, there's many. I mean, it's a great.
To heal yourself. There's amazing research on meditation from Harvard University, by the way. It's not a woo-woo idea. How meditation can cure almost every disease studied. And it can actually change your genetics. It doesn't change the DNA, that's set, but it can switch on and off genes, like a cancer gene. It can turn that one off if you're predisposed. So amazing research has come out about mind-body healing, plus quantum theory says we create reality with our thoughts. You've probably heard about the vibrational aspects of our universe. You've heard people the book, but all this, it says, trying to reconnect. So
Yeah,
if you're missing some of this, you can go to my Facebook page here and get a download of the pieces that are missing. I'm not sure why it says that and cuts out periodically.
Yeah, the book is available on Amazon, and like you just said, not yet. The audio version is not available quite yet. And
we're going to do a series on this, and we're going to schedule the next one here after we're done here and we'll notify you guys again when that next one is. That could be here in a couple weeks, in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But you can grab the book again at Amazon.com, and sacredquantummetaphysics.com is where you can get more information. If you want to get a hold of me, I am at Sophia, Sophia Rashkin, RASHKIN.com. Sophia-Rashkin.com. Is there anything else that you want to say?
Well, I just would encourage people, this is my life, and don't ever feel like you're going to disrupt me or interrupt. I'm very, very busy, but I'll answer emails, and I'm always there for people with quality questions. So especially people that have read the book and they have something that's affecting their life. One of the things that Sophia and I have talked about is we're going to do some workshops where we can actually put these principles into actions, where you have a step-by-step helper to help that through, and people could come in. Maybe finances are a problem, maybe relationships are a problem, maybe anything that's going on, their health. Well, how do you actually put those principles into action? So stay tuned for those kind of things, and certainly we'll be able to answer questions
Yeah, and
during that time.
I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'll just wrap by piggybacking on that, because people are always like, well, you know, I've done everything, I've read every law of attraction book known to man, and this and that, and there's sometimes blind spots that we're not aware of because they come from other lifetimes that affect this lifetime. And so I do a series of releasing vows of poverty, releasing vows of chastity and celibacy and self-worth, obedience, silence, releasing people's lower or negative energies from other lifetimes. If you've got people that you're in strife with, you know, these can be carried from other lifetimes, and you just don't know why it's affecting this lifetime. And so I assist with that as well, and you can find that on my website at sophia-rashkin.com. And I think I'm done.
I
Anything
think
else?
that's good, except I just leave it that people don't need to worry about past lives unless there's something that isn't quite working in their life in this time, or nagging at them or whatever. It's not something everybody has to go through. It's very, very valuable and insightful. In fact, I loved it as a therapist because it's instantaneous, the healing. Once people understand it, it's suddenly just gone. And to me, that's very, very satisfying. So
Okay. Well, great.
keep that in mind. And if there's anything less than perfect on this broadcast, understand this is our first one, and we'll learn from it and make it better next time. So thank you for being there.
Yes, thank you guys. Many, many, many love and blessings to you, all of you. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time. Let's see.